Welcome to the Brighten Your Day podcast.
Okay, going back, so same to you. I feel like I grew up watching you do soccer, and it's so different when you're the person doing it versus like your family members supporting you because you're like, I gotta go watch Brighton. But at the same time, I remember sitting being like, go Brighton, like with everything in my heart, and I loved that. You know, I can look back and like laugh, but those were good memories too. So for you to see me,
Yeah.
it's funny because like I was so in my zone and you're like, what's happening? You're probably like, another dance recital.
I know.
Yeah.
And like, what made you be interested in dance? Like, out of everything,
In the
out of
first place.
every sport, do you like take me back to a time? Was there a time that you just were like, dance? Like, that's just my thing.
Yeah, totally. Actually, there's one exact moment. Like, so I did gymnastics at the age of 3. And I got to like level, I want to say 7, maybe. And I was about 9 or 10 years old. And level 7 is pretty intense for for a 9 and 10-year-old. And there's 4 things in gymnastics. And there's 4. So there's bar, beam, vault, floor. And I remember my favorite was floor. Because the big girls got to do music, and I was starting to be the big girl to like have music, and you move and
do those routines.
You do routine, and it really is the most entertaining part. I think, like when you watch Simone Biles and stuff.
Oh my gosh, she's insane.
Yeah, and you know, like you do one routine for so long that it's honestly like, okay, I'm over this, but it was just getting too intense, and so finally I broke down. I'm like, my anxiety is really high. Like I love the dance part of gymnastics. So mom sat me down many nights.
Yeah.
Whitney, what do you want to do? And of course I'm like so young, but I'm thinking of all of my future. And I said, I think I want to try dance. So then I flipped over to doing competitive dance at that time.
I see. And like with dance, do you feel like you found it almost just more expressive? Because I feel like gymnastics is, I mean, incredible. There's so many, it's just an insane sport in general. But I feel like looking at dancers, it's just such an art form. And I feel like people choose their art form, you know, like whatever way it speaks to you. Like for me, I chose music. Not saying I don't love dancing and stuff, but like people kind of gravitate towards like what their body wants them to express, like how their body wants them to express their emotions and stuff. And I totally think like dancing was absolutely that for you. Like, and talking back to your anxiety, like did you feel anxiety pretty young, like doing gymnastics even before that?
I laugh because you grew up with me. I feel like I was born, honestly, like natural anxiety. And I say this, I could talk about this forever. Anxiety is a superpower. At the end of the day, it's how you control that power. And so as a kid, I think it overtook me bad in ways, and then all of a sudden I would zone in with my anxiety at competition and be like, you're gonna do your very freaking best, and you're gonna do better than everyone else, and you're gonna do better than yourself yesterday. And it was an anxiety push, but it actually like did give me success. But I was like, it's exhausting always being in that space of mind. And as an adult now, it's like, okay,
being in fight or flight
all the time maybe would cause issues, autoimmune disease, and other things. But I feel like seeing you too, you totally express through music and guitar, where dance for me, it's hard now because I don't do it anymore, and it's therapy. And that's where I need to go back to that, like, well, the fun of dance
and why you did it in the first place.
And it brought me, and ultimately it took me out of gymnastics to then have less anxiety. But the longer you're in a competitive sport, eventually you're going to get good and have anxiety.
And then the fun is like, okay, why am I doing this in the first place? Like, what was the reason?
Totally.
Take me back. Gosh, I've been learning that so much. Like, take me back to my childhood.
Yeah.
What in my childhood did I like about this? And then, like, I feel like that opens up so many things. I was actually going to say, too, before I forget, Andrew Huberman. I'm, like, a huge fan of Andrew Huberman. I don't know if he's a neuroscientist. He has his own podcast. He's just insanely smart guy. I watched this one episode that he did on motivators and determination and drive. And he said that one of the biggest motivators is fear. It just is. And I mean, that makes sense. That's not even like that crazy of a thing. And there's even people that will sit down and be like, what's the worst thing that can happen? And if I do that, like, what's going to happen? And I'm like, I don't think that's a good frame of mind to be in. But it totally makes sense that, like, anxiety is a superpower in that way. Because it's really propelling you forward, you know? And yes, you need to learn to control and harness it in a way and use it for good and use it for being uncomfortable and getting in those places. But I love that frame of mind of, like, it doesn't have to be a bad thing. People just operate different.
Yes, and it can control you, just like anything. Being depressed is deep rest.
Yeah.
Or it can put you in a complete dark space that there's no getting out. But actually, you just need to relax and have deep rest. Same thing with anxiety, right? Like fueling that energy to be a motivator. And even fear can be a good motivator. But like at the end of the day, if it's all day for years. And in business, I mean, we see like our family, a lot of time they use fear to push the business and it makes it successful. But then like what at the end of the day is going to hurt your mind and body all the time.
No, I think like too, just being, like you said, being in that state of mind all the time is not good.
No.
It's just simply not. But it makes sense that why we are wired that way. Like there is a reason why we are wired that way. And I do believe that people naturally just fall on different ends of the spectrum with everything, with being able to feel their emotions or not feel their emotions. And like, yeah, I mean, you know me, like I've totally had my own. There's a bug. You guys, we're in nature right now, so
can you tell?
If you see us just flinch a little bit, if you're on the video, I know if you're on audio, you're not gonna see this, but
we're trying to keep calm.
Yeah, we're trying to keep calm
and enjoy
being in a meditative state,
like anxiety. What we're talking about.
Exactly. Well, I don't even know what I was gonna say, but
sorry.
No, you're fine. I was thinking about high school. Like, I just like to give kind of a background. High school, you obviously chose to still do dance, right?
Yeah.
Was there a time in high school that you were just like, why am I doing this anymore? Or were you like, no, I love this. I want to do this forever. Or was it just kind of like your thing? Like you just did it?
So that's weird, right? I feel like I've literally, it almost sounds cocky, but in the way I'm like, why is it cocky if it's a fact? I've been doing sports since I was 3 years old. Literally. And I don't know why I've always felt bad saying that, but it's the truth. And I want to say 14 or 15, I was doing really competitive dance. It was getting really intense again, like 4 to 5 hours a day, Monday through Friday.
Like Dance Moms.
Oh, yeah. You guys think Dance Moms is fake? No, it just shows you what happens. And it goes all the way to professional dance.
Yeah.
Let me tell you. But so then I almost got to a point, I'm like, gosh, all this anxiety that I felt in gymnastics, like, and I changed to dance. I did it for the love of it. Now I'm feeling all this anxiety again. And now getting into high school, I really want to enjoy going to dances with guys and being on the dance team with girls. Because there's one thing, when you're a competitive dancer, it's not the same as being on a high school dance team, unless your high school dance team is freaking amazing.
Like good,
which isn't always the case. So I chose, okay, leave competitive dance to enjoy your high school years. And my biggest fear was, I'm not going to be as good as those girls that are doing competitive dance. I thought that all the time. So much so that I would do, I would do 200 sit-ups a night.
I remember that.
Do you remember that?
I remember that.
It was like I couldn't sleep unless I did my routine.
Yeah, that's why. Is that why?
That's why.
I always wondered why you would do that.
That's why.
It was
like, fear.
Damn, okay.
Like, what's gone into
I'm
Whitney?
over here just sleeping and she's like
having anxiety. Yeah, so I pushed like, well, every night I'm going to work out so crazy. I got to 60 push-ups a night without stopping. Like,
wow.
Yeah. Mountain View, I'm actually like third most push-ups for women.
There's a leaderboard. Go check that out, ladies and gents.
All because of anxiety. You're welcome. But it came from that.
Yeah.
Stopping competitive, enjoying high school, but I'm like, I want to be just as good as the competitive girls. So I did push in my own mental way of doing that. And in a way, since being 3 years old, dance became my identity. Like you were saying, why did you keep doing it? So half was now fun, because now I'm in high school, and half was identity. And then later in years, I mean, I'm sure we're going to touch on this, like, then how much do you actually push that
Yeah.
and lose your identity of only dance and not you? What's you?
I think thinking back to, I don't want to say this wrong, but thinking back to validation.
Oh, yeah.
With every sport, especially in the limelight, right? I mean, even with me doing social media, like there's always a point where it's like, you know, you're being perceived and you kind of want to be perceived in a certain way.
Totally.
And it's hard to fight with because it's like, even if you're doing it for the love of it, are you doing it because you want fame? Are you doing it because you want to be looked at in a certain way? And I've had my own struggles with that of like, am I wanting to do social media just so I can get clout and followers and like all this stuff? Like, where's the meaning? But thinking back to your high school, just were you seeking validation in a certain way?
That's honestly the best question you could ever ask, because that goes all the way to how I feel now.
Yeah.
Like, what is my drive of... I'm losing my tongue. What is my drive in anything?
Yeah.
And I realize, and that's why I really respect you're doing this, because you're doing this for you. You, for your podcast. This is like the validation of, I want to make me happy. And I think that's the best validation. But being in a sport since 3 years old all the way till 2 years ago, all I was looking for, because when you're in a sport, you're getting critiqued, you know, soccer. Like, you're looking for that validation every time you're in practice, every critique. That is why we go, and that's the only way to get better is for critiquing.
So it's like how they critique you too.
How they critique, obviously there's good and bad ways, and I always say that a good leader critiques well. A bad leader wants to just make you feel like shit. I don't know if I'm allowed to swear on this.
No, you're good. It's real.
It's real. And that's where I respect like certain people.
Yeah.
Because everyone wants validation.
I don't think that's a bad thing. I mean, also going back to human nature, like everyone wants to be loved, to be seen, you know, and like validated. Gosh, you could go, for me, I didn't even think I was going to go here, but you could go all the way back to my childhood. Like, I'm not saying I was like bullied, but it's true, you know, and you think back to like, oh, well, did boys like me or did girls like me and why didn't they like me? And like, is it because of something I did or how I look or how I, you know, and like, I think that follows adults. It follows people for years. Forever.
Yeah, they look outward instead of in. And that's huge with the validation of, okay, with dance. After high school, how do I make people think I'm cool? How far can I get in this dance world?
Yeah.
Where you lose yourself in liking yourself, being happy for yourself, losing that love of dance.
Yeah.
To then prove to people, and I say this to girls when I teach in high schools, I say, why are you doing it? Because I remember thinking, if I try out, like all these people literally back in my childhood are going to think I'm cool. At the end of the day, why do I actually care if those people aren't in my everyday?
Yeah.
Why are they the most biggest drivers?
Why are they the drivers for your life?
For your own path.
Yeah.
And even dumb exes that I had. I'm like, oh, I'll show you. It's like, what? I left because I wanted to be happy. I showed myself by not needing your validation. But at the end of the day, like still when I did dance and I pushed for these professional teams, totally it was validation and almost for my parents and my family.
Oh.
Like that's a huge driver.
That, ladies and gentlemen, that will have to be part 2. Just, yes.
Making our parents proud is everyone's, I think most people's goal. They want to have them be proud.
And I've touched on our parents in a way of like, they are entrepreneurial. Like they're just
to the core
go-getters. So like, obviously we are like, what can we do? How can we show that we are like them, you know? And like, and
they're amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. And like, that's why you look at it. You're like, wow, I want to be like them.
I want to be. And I think that's how our parents looked at their parents. Like, especially on dad's side. Like,
absolutely.
I want to prove. And my mom with school. Like, I want to prove I can do this and make you proud. I mean, you're the baby. You want to make your parents proud. That's normal. But like,
how does it determine your life though?
Right?
So yeah, it's
like
so many
bragging
layers.
rights. There's so many layers. And then I could go on and on. Validation is probably huge in especially women, the world, and how they want you to feel validated isn't always the healthiest way. Like
another podcast episode. Like, truly, it really is.
Oh, yeah.
Going into, I mean, you keep touching on professional dance,
yes.
right?
Yeah, it's like inching there, yeah.
No, it is. And that's what I wanted, is to inch there. I want to hear about you and your stories, not just like NFL dancer comes on to, like I wanted to hear more about like
how to get there.
Not even how to get there, but who you are, like what it was for you, And like before we get to NFL, NBA actually first, before we get to that, I want you to touch on like if you bring dance to its core and why you do it, what does it mean for you? How does it feel for you?
You're gonna make me cry.
That's okay.
Because because I'm experiencing that now.
Yeah.
And after stepping away from like a high peak in dance and realizing, really, Whitney, what is your love? And I remember all those, I literally am going to cry. No, I've been on a yoga retreat and now I'm so like open, which is good. It's good. I think of all those moments that I would shut the door and blast music alone. Like, and it would be a hard day in school. It would be mom and dad maybe fighting. It would be happy. It would be me making a dance team. It would be drawing and then expressing, putting down the paintbrush and then dancing. Like, it was my therapy for my meditation.
Yeah.
And I learned that in yoga like this last week. Like, Kinley, our other sister, does yoga retreats. I'm gonna put that in here.
Yeah, I always do. I'm like, she taught me everything I know.
Yeah, we should shout out her.
Yeah. Kinley's Lane on Instagram.
Kinley's Lane on Instagram literally can change your life.
Yeah.
We do body movements and I felt so rigid and stuck because I realized like
that's interesting.
Everything that I learned in life, it was being better, validation, critiques. So like I pushed. And I realized my way of expressing, like I almost have to be alone to move freely. Which is so weird because when you dance in front of 60,000 people plus online on prime time with Ice Cube, millions like watch. My real love of dance was alone and meditating because I was in.
It's a form.
It's a form of expression.
Meditation isn't just sitting.
No. And I realized like I felt all these voices in my head, all these like triggers that were around. Like this is the reason I move, is to release that. Literally, if you think of it as energy, negativity.
Yeah.
And say if people push that onto you, my dance was like the physical form of shaking that energy off, not just the mental mindset. I think that helped me as a little kid. All the way till now, like I danced for the first time alone when I like a few weeks ago. And I realized like I need to dance with my English bulldog in the kitchen alone.
Yeah. Like why do you do it?
Why do I wait and think I can't when I realize, oh, that's actually the medicine I need.
And it's actually, you have everything. You have music and a space.
And a body. That's able, which is so lucky to move.
No, I love that. Thank you for doing that because I want to say something too real fast.
Okay.
Because I just realized this. Like, you were saying was a lot. Like, dancing is past tense for you.
Yeah.
Isn't that kind of interesting?
You know what I mean? I think I say was in the professional world.
Yeah.
I think I'm trying to figure out now is what you just asked.
Okay, so let's get into that, shall we?
Whatever you want.
Professional Whitney. Professional dancer Whitney.
I got a lot to say.
But
I haven't said.
Take me to where and when you decided to try out for the jazz. Okay, what was the jazz team called? I forget.
Well, okay, if you want to hear more of the real, I tried out for the jazz original dance team twice. Didn't make it.
I forgot about that.
I got cut. So my ego was completely crushed, especially like coming from high school, not doing competitive dance. And I took a few advanced jazz classes in college, which were really hard. I still got cut twice on the jazz team. And I didn't realize, little Whitney, like, confidence is key. And I almost was too shy to be confident to prove that I'm good enough because someone can be kind of not like a good dancer. But when you have the face and the confidence and the walk in the chest, you're all of a sudden like a better dancer. People look at you like she's so good.
Energy. energy and look.
It's acting.
Yeah.
I joke, and being in the dance team when I was on Raiders, like in the middle of it, I'm like, I'm an amazing actor because it comes down to acting.
It's actually so true.
And so I got cut twice, and I thought, like, I'm not good enough. You know, my technique may not be there, but I wish I shined light because it's not just the dancing. I realized the dance professional world, this is what bothers me, because men in sports, if you're really good at a sport, you'll go far.
Yeah.
You'll make money. Women, especially dance world, I'll say only, is you have to be smart. You have to have public speaking skills. You have to have a degree. You have to have even sometimes an online presence. Your Instagram might have to have some followers, which is dumb. And be amazing at dance. So that's 5 in 1. People are looking, and I didn't realize that as little Whitney doing jazz tryouts. Oh, I didn't realize that I can people fabricate their interviews.
Yeah.
Where, like, it would be okay if I said, oh, I am going to start college. But in the meantime, I wasn't in college. So I was like, no, I'm not in college.
Yeah.
I was really honest.
Yeah.
And a lot of girls puff their chests, but, like, that's how you get noticed.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize that. And who knows what other reason. I mean, that coach chose not to twice. So each their own, that happens. But so the second time I got cut, it was awful. Both times I got to final round. Okay. And the tryouts are ruthless.
Yeah.
You know, I'm crushed right after they were coming out with their own hip hop team for Utah Jazz. So if you could imagine, I was like walking in with like, I was so sad. I'm like, I'm here again and please take me. And hip hop was I love hip hop. I did that in college too. I was on a hip hop dance team. And so I was like, okay, if there's any shot I have, it's going for this. And it's so awkward, but I'm like, whatever. Like, what do I have to lose? You guys cut me twice.
True. Like, might as well freaking try
might
again.
As well. I'm already at the lowest I can be. I'm going to go in there like puffing my chest and I'm going to act like these people. Sure enough, I made it. And it was the first breakthrough of like, whoa, I worked my whole life. And this is kind of the validation that I think I was looking for the very first time. And
that's not bad. I mean, you worked your whole life.
Yeah.
Of course you want to see something from it.
You want to see a result.
And be grateful for it. You know, like take the time to be like, wow, like I actually, I did it.
Which I did.
Yeah.
I was very like,
you're like, I did it.
Did it. Yeah. And it was in the middle of like my worst relationship ever.
Yeah.
So it felt even better. Like I have this. I'm gonna hold on. Yeah. Like with everything I have to feel like I'm good enough. Because when you're in a bad relationship with other people, you don't feel good enough. So you want validation all the time. So that was the first, like, I did that. And that was awesome. I soaked it up every second. But in the back of my mind, I was like, well, how much further? Like, what
can I push?
How do I push? Push. Like, that's all I thought. Right? And then, boom, 2020, like, hit.
Yeah.
So then it was like, okay, is my dance career over? And if you're at any audition, you understand walking in a room full of people might be the most intimidating thing you'll do. Putting your one name, your one number to a face, and you need to stand out in front of everyone.
So what made you choose? Are you going to Raiders? Yeah. So what made you choose Raiders? Like, what was...
Well, because there wasn't a room full of people. Because it was 2020.
Yeah.
So I saw an online poster. I don't even know how. I don't know if it just popped up or I clicked on something similar. And I saw these 3 girls on a poster and I remember thinking, I'm saying this because I'm going to say it again. Why? There was 3 girls and one blonde was in the middle. And I was like, I wonder what it would be like to be that blonde in the middle of the poster for auditions. She has a for sure spot on the team. And I'm just going to say it now. Like, I ended up being that.
Yeah.
I literally was the blonde in the middle of the trio, like 3 years later. For the auditions, but
that's that's amazing. Regardless,
like manifestation is crazy.
Amazing.
Thanks.
Gosh,
thank you. You're so sweet. So, but in the back of my head, all that doubt and needing that validation and being on NBA, I was like, maybe I have a shot. Maybe, like, you know, you have no idea. These ladies, the judges, they can cut you from the hair color, the way you talk, how tall you are, your ethnicity, how many people they have, like
body,
for sure, body, and dance skill. Like, there's so many variables that you almost just have to go in with an open heart and be like, okay, I'm doing this. So But luckily for me, it was 2020.
Yeah.
And
no one's
around, and I didn't see all the body types and all the hairstyles. I was like, I can send a video.
Yeah.
So I did. I just sent in like an introductory video, and I felt more powerful because of NBA. Like, okay, like maybe they'll notice me more. Turned it in 2020, like waited online, and then I got okay, like you're in the next round. And I think next round was interviews, which wasn't even a person. It was like a computer that asked a question, and then it said 3, 2, 1, and then your face would pop up and it would record you answering that question.
I'd be like, hi,
yeah. Oh yeah. And at the very end of it, it was like, give us a Raiders fact. 3, 2, 1, record. Okay, may I say, so when you're a dancer all your life, and you go to the professional world, they expect you to understand football, right? Or an NBA, like basketball. And I get it. I totally get it. I'm the face of it. Like, I'm meeting the fans. But, like, it's really hard when your whole life you practice being amazing at a sport to then all of a sudden knowing a ton of football.
Yeah.
It wasn't...
It's just funny. But
it's funny.
It makes sense.
But it makes sense. Like, I'm not going to crap on that.
Yeah.
Okay, so I did the interview online, and... we were at the sand dunes, okay? Because 2020, there's nothing else to do. I mean, that sounds so bratty. Nothing else but, like, ride in the sand dunes.
No, yeah.
We're very grateful.
We were just, like, camping.
We were camping, and we were having a ton of fun. And I get an email in the middle of the sand dunes, and it was like, you made it to the final round. I'm like, holy crap, this is getting real.
Yeah.
And I knew it was happening. I'm like, dang. Like, it's almost so exciting but terrifying because you're like, it's getting real. Yeah. And I remember, like, you guys were all around and kind of just, like, rallying around and, like, supporting, which was so sweet. But I end up going.
Was there a moment where you were just, like, almost receding back?
Oh, yeah.
Where you're like, what? Okay, I just made it. Never mind.
Never mind. Yeah. For sure. Well, because I was all about it until I was in person.
Until you did. Yeah, in person.
And that was where I started to, like, shrink. I was like, oh, gosh. Like, now I really got to play the part that I played at home because I can play that so much easier when I'm not around.
Yeah.
A ton of really qualified, beautiful women, right? It's a big audition. Huge. They ended up saying 1,400 people tried out.
Jeez.
And I think they invited 60 to finals. And, I mean, there's a whole episode I could do with just auditioning.
Yeah, yeah.
It's huge. So, really big process. And I'm so grateful that I stayed grounded and dealt with it because women next to you, you can tell, like, in auditions, either women are for you or they're against you.
Yeah.
And I kind of was neither. I was just in this, like, good luck, everyone. Good luck to me. Let's do this. Let's do our best. And I think that was the best mindset I could do at that moment.
Okay, let's talk about mindset with that. Like, okay, what was the ending result of these auditions, right?
Okay, yeah. So the end was a good ending. I made the team. Complete shock. I was like the second or third girl to be called on the team.
Wow.
And I was sitting very front row. I was number 3. So that tells you, like, I was first group to interview, first to solo, first to do the other dance. And I'm grateful because when you sit there and wait to get called, you could be like the last girl to be called and just every number stresses you out.
Yeah.
So I was really grateful that I was, one of the first. Yeah. So I made that team and I freaked out and everyone around me is freaking out. And I wasn't one of those. I was used to being the girl that was in the group that didn't get picked because that happened twice to me.
Yeah.
So I was like, wow, like I felt for those girls that didn't get picked. They're in the other room hearing us cheer. And that's like, it's a lot of work. You support everyone. But I was so grateful. Like all this built up. And NFL to me was still is huge.
It's like one of the top. Absolutely.
It's the top of a one dance road. Like, for sure. NBA, but like NFL just has so much money and you're treated more like a princess, not like get off the court. It was like, okay, we want you here. So I didn't realize, but all of a sudden all these random cousins and random people from high school are, hey, Whitney. And it's like, wait a second, like, where were you all this time? But like, weird that you were the validation at the beginning. And then I realized, maybe it's not for you. Like, I don't care for you anyway. But right now.
But now they're all of a sudden
coming. Now you're all here, like, coming from the wood. And where are they now? Where are you now? You're gone.
Yeah.
Because I'm not on it.
Yeah. Yeah, they're not supporting you after. Or let's say, like, even really during. Like, you know what I mean? Like, truly being there for you.
Yeah. No. Not for, hey, Whitney, do you have tickets?
Yeah.
Hey, I'm related to you. Really? Because we haven't talked in forever.
I've never met you.
Yeah.
No, yeah, gosh.
Yeah. But on the flip side, it was so cool. I wanted to sit in that like bragging of I did this.
Like, they just called your name. You guys all cheered. Were mom and dad right there?
No. So they were waiting in the house. They were in Vegas.
Yeah.
And I texted my ex-boyfriend at the time, like, I effing made the team.
Yeah.
And I guess what happened, Mom was holding ice cream and spilt it all over herself. And they were driving, and then I guess they went and got flowers. They were probably going to give it to me no matter what happened. Yeah. But I guess that's what happened on their end.
Aww.
And so, but what was fun, right after you make the team, usually they pull you and they put you in Raider gear and they give you pom-poms and they make you do a little thing, and it just starts to feel like, holy crap, like this is real. And then they picked me up. Of course, there's a video. Mom is like crying, running to me, and you're just like, whoa. Now I'm like, this is real.
There. Yeah.
This is real.
Wow. Gosh, I mean, so many avenues I could go down. Because obviously, then it was what, 3 years? 3 years of your life?
Yeah, so that first year was COVID. That was weird.
Yeah.
Really cool, though, because I'm going to keep those masks forever.
Yeah.
Like, great grandma Whitney was an NFL cheerleader during COVID. Like,
I want to almost transition, but it's not even a transition at all. We talked a little bit about performance, and obviously there's performance anxiety and all of those things, and even not even just with anxiety, but I want to ask you, what are things that you said to yourself before each game or before each tryout that you feel like helped you the most?
Oh, see, now it's hard because like I'm 2 years later, but like thinking back when I was in the thick of it, so COVID year and the real year. So I got a real year with cheering, like with a ton of people. But even then, as a dancer, you're trying to prove to your coach you're good enough. So even if no one's in the stands, it's still a lot of anxiety because they chose you to be on the team. So you want to prove your spot like every time. Exhausting.
Yeah.
I remember thinking, Whitney, you made it. All this time you've tried to make a team. You did it. What are they going to do now?
Yeah.
And the David Goggins book I love because literally I would repeat that title in my head. Before I read the book, I remember thinking, you can't hurt me. That's all I would say all day long. I could cry. I'm like, you can't hurt me, no matter how mean. Because like at the end, I left on my 3rd season. You can't hurt me. I don't care how much you drag me down because of your insecurities. Like, you're not going to hurt me.
Yeah. And
I could cry about this because I look up to so many girls on that team, especially my captain, Rachel. I hope you watch this. The most mentally strong dancer I've ever met is probably Rachel. Yeah. I know you asked me, but I talk about them because I took their advice too. I was like, how do you like mentally learn 30 dances and call on any dance at any tempo while calling in our counts? So like she's thinking double what I have to think. Yeah. Double. And she's like, I don't think. And I was like, what? You don't think? And I'm like, yeah, wait, actually, when I'm in the thick of it, I don't think.
Yeah.
And that's huge. When I'm in it, my full self body is in it. I don't have second thoughts. When you're doing that, if you spin at all, dance in one beat, you can mess up. People know that. So if you just don't think and then say, because amazing dancers mess up, even if it happens, I'm so amazing, I'm going to make it look good. I'm going to make this mess up look like it didn't happen by smiling, being confident. So literally it was acting. Yeah. My mental mindset is not thinking during it. And if you're thinking, you're going to act the part no matter what.
And I think like your body knows.
Your body knows more than you.
Your body knows.
Yep.
It's almost just trusting.
Totally.
That it knows. And I'm sure people use it in both ways of either numbing or grounding.
Yes.
Or being with your body.
Being in your body.
Or almost not feeling your body. And I'm sure there's both.
Yeah.
But it totally makes sense, especially for something as physical as dance.
Right.
Because I think that with my sport as well. Like I played soccer and like thinking back to how the heck did I just dive and save that ball? Because I was goalie. How the heck did I know to jump up to that corner, reach my hand out, barely tip it? Like I see the visual that my body had done. And so it was like an out of body experience, but it was so instinctive at the same time.
But do you feel like you were thinking much?
No, absolutely not. Like maybe a little bit beforehand, being like, okay, they might be coming up. How am I going to position myself?
Yeah.
And then when it happened, it happened. Like, and I think that's almost just what is the saying? Like, let go and let God.
Totally.
Like it is.
Let go, really, let it. Yeah. Let it be.
Oh, speaking of David Goggins, like, man.
Amazing.
Can't Hurt Me, that book. I haven't read the second one. Have you read the second one?
No.
If you guys haven't read the book, Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins, top book.
Yeah.
Top book ever. Gosh, I mean, I have so many favorite books. I'll probably always say that that's my favorite book, but that one is really up there. If you need motivation, if you just need like a wake-up call, especially a wake-up call, check that book out. It's incredible. 2 other books that in my thick of anxiety, okay, I will say I kind of suffered with panic attacks for about a year and a half, 2 years ago. I was thinking back to books that I wanted to touch on, and there's these 2 books. If you suffer with anxiety or you just want to feel more calm, have a better mindset during those times, The Untethered Soul, which I literally can't remember the author, so that's embarrassing.
I don't know the author.
The Untethered Soul and A Return to Love by Marianne Williamson. Have you ever read either of those?
You told me to read Return to Love, so that's on the list, but you've always said that that's like amazing.
I have 2 copies of that book.
Great, give me one.
Yeah, genuinely, like, read it, have it. It's so good. So that's my little tidbit for you guys. Okay, so yeah, talked about performance, talked about mindset.
Yeah, mindset was huge.
Raiders.
Everything. Yeah, Raiders is everything.
But what was the point where you were like, and maybe for dancers out there or people that are in a professional sport, professional setting, anything where the stakes are really high, what was the point where you realized like, okay, this isn't for me? Or it is for me, but not in this way.
Yeah. Oh man, there's so much I could say. Because like, I want to start by saying the most amazing memories I'll take forever were dancing professionally at that caliber. And like I said, going on halftime, primetime, dancing next to Ice Cube.
Yeah, how did that feel? Like did that just feel insane?
I didn't feel like I imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
And, you know, he's up there rapping, and I'm just, like, soaking up. Mom's right next to, like, right behind me.
Mom was there?
She went up straight as close as she could, because I told her, I said, you gotta get to the torch, and that's where he performs. Oh, yeah. But, like, I know those memories will last forever, and even, like...
Yeah, I like to think about the happy as well.
I wanted to touch on the happy first. Like, absolutely. I had the most amazing assistant coach. I think she created a lot of that happiness, because... when I say it was stressful, people don't get how stressful. And things can change the day before. And songs can change. And to give you an idea of how stressful, game day was the least stressful day of the week. That tells you how stressful our practice was.
Wow.
I was soaking up every second of game day because practice, literally, I was like tearing up. I was shaky. I was really in my body, really grounded. Other girls actually were like, Whitney, like how they would ask, like, how are you so calm? And I'm just like, you know, in my head, I'm like, they can't hurt me. This is for me. This is for me. Me. I earned this. You're not going to ruin it. Which at the end of the day, 3rd season, like the main coach, I realized, you know what? Like you are controlling this to not be as fun.
Yeah. Coaches make or break every sport.
They do. And I think if you're a real, like you're an athlete and you're going to push, you deal with the crappy coaches. And I have. This isn't the only one I've had that was crappy. But the main coach ended up being somebody that I was like, I can't even be at that point in my life to even deal with you because it's impossible.
Yeah.
You're making things impossible for me to be here. And so I ended up, I was there 3 years, but I left my 3rd season right after tryouts. Hello. Would I put myself through tryouts to like want to leave right after? No.
Yeah.
But like it got to that point and I'm so grateful I stayed when I did, and I am so grateful I left when I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it was like, who is this for? And who am I trying to prove? And I was losing me. And so I chose me. I chose to leave, and I'm so glad. And ended up other people left too shortly after me.
Yeah.
I'll never forget somebody told me, like, it's more admirable to leave than to stay with what you're doing. And I'm so grateful they said that to me. Because you feel like the crazy one.
Yeah.
Everyone else
absolutely
is like, why would you ever? And it's like, because
you don't get it till you get it.
You don't get it till you get it. And like, I'm literally panic attacks every time I meet with my main coach. The main coach literally gave me like threatened and just was rude. She was a bully. And I got to the point that I'm like, I'm not going to take this anymore. I don't care if this means I'm no longer an NFL cheerleader. Like, I'm me. I'm going to be 80 years old and wrinkly. I can't move my body after this. So I'm going to choose happiness.
But also, like, so I'm glad you did it, you know? Like, because you're going to be 80 years old.
Yeah.
Like, I'll briefly touch on this. Like, Whitney and I do modeling or like Monster Energy, and Whitney did it during that time as well of Raiders, but now I've recently started to do it. And like, that was our whole mindset is like, okay, even if it doesn't last forever or whatnot, we have these memories now. And that should be where your mindset is of like a future happy mindset of like, if I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna try and enjoy it.
We're gonna try and get it. Because it was also like, oh, do we like go for it?
Yeah.
And that was scary.
You gotta commit.
And we went for it. And then, you know, we've done a few gigs. And like every gig, we're just like, oh, like no matter what, if this is the last one ever, we're gonna enjoy it. Because we're sisters and this is a memory.
It should be fun.
Yeah. It should be fun at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And that's really like, so back when I did that Monster all the time and I was working at a club and that was another mentally draining, and then Raiders, and my mind and my body were not connected. I was spinning and sad, and I realized I need to step back and take a mental health break. And really my stomach since 2 years later, year and a half, it's been catching up because I feel like your body is speaking to you the whole time you're in that fight or flight, saying, hey, like, remember, you're human. You can't take on all this crap. Like, for all this anxiety, even if it's not crap, like, that's a lot to take in and be perfect. And what I was doing, though, was very much like looks.
Yeah.
So that's a whole other, like, how do you feel okay and in your body when you feel exposed all the time in that way?
Oh, yeah. And I think I'm really happy, though, we touched on the happy.
Yeah.
Because it's incredible what you're able to accomplish.
I could go on and on. Like, little girls was my, oh my gosh. When even little boys and girls run up to me and I'm in uniform, they look at me like how I used to look at people, like, how could I ever be them? And they looked at me like that. I'm going to cry this whole podcast. And that was the best because I just looked at them like, no, this is real. Yeah. You can and will be, if you want, you can do it. Like, and I went to the Air Force Base, and that was amazing. And I met alumni guys, like big football grandpas that had Super Bowl rings, and hearing how they, you know, went through their own athletic mindset journey. Oh my gosh, like seriously. And I'll say one more because I could go on and on. I roomed with this really cute girl from Japan, and she was on the team with me, and her and I would do so many appearances together. Like, there's one time we went to this tiny town outside of the main Vegas. I forget what it's even called. Maybe Boulder? I know that's in Colorado, but I think, sorry if it's
I couldn't tell you.
Tiny. Yeah. And they had a parade, a full-on parade, and everyone was so excited to see us. Aww. They put us in I think it was a convertible Bentley.
Shut up.
And we were like waving. And it was literally lawn chairs. Like, we ended at a park, the whole town. Everyone's sitting outside with their beers. And it was just this girl from Japan and I. And they bring us on stage, and he goes, Whitney. And I'm just like, it's their whole parade. They're so excited. And he's like, I heard you like to snowboard. Where do you like to snowboard? And like, but those memories.
That's cute.
Gosh, like, I need to write down.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, have you not? You need to.
No.
I'm big into journaling.
You are good at journaling.
Yeah,
you
now,
always...
though, it's recent.
Oh.
Truly been a recent thing, but I guess more for memories. I like capturing with video and stuff more. It's just so easy, honestly. And it's beautiful. I think video is beautiful, but also like those special memories, like the written word. Wow, I'm going to sound so wise. But the written word, you just remember when you're writing it and like how you felt when you're writing it, and then it takes you back to that time. Like, so I have like 2 journals where one is my conscious everyday thoughts. It's called Morning Pages. I can get into that later. But then I have another journal that's more of like a diary, and that is where like my really core memories I'll put into there. You know?
Really?
Yeah. Cute. Not all of them. I mean, there's a good chunk though of just like core memories. Some good, some not so good.
Not great.
Yeah, you should write that down. You really should. Absolutely.
I need to. Anything.
I want to touch on a little bit of just like leaving Raiders, but then what are you up to now? Like, that's really what I want to know is like not even what are you up to now, because we're in our 20s, right? Okay. Mm-hmm. We don't know what we're doing tomorrow.
Or what we're eating
or what
today.
we're eating today. So like,
but we're jumping in this pool after.
So it's like touch on leaving Raiders.
You know, it's interesting because in my head, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, what if those people like watch this and realize I went for another tryout and how it ended and what they think. Again, the validation.
Yeah.
But I realized like I'm so secure in me and I'm going to be successful. I'm already successful because I'm me and I'm proud. Once I felt like it was one-sided, and I can't speak a lot, other people sign NDAs, which is a thing. People don't realize the NFL world or even any professional world. Like NDAs are real, and I can only speak on my experience because I never signed anything. And not because I will say I was an amazing dancer, like amazing. Mm-hmm. And basically I felt I was good to be there. Yeah. I had a rightful spot to be there. Definitely it was like pushing out, bullying, and talking ill every time to me. Gosh. And like, even if I like, you're not supposed to touch your hair in the professional dance world. Like you can't. I'm, like, in NFL. Well, like you have to get it out of your face. Yeah. But I remember like the very last day that it hit me, it was a draft party. And we like walked downstairs and I went like this. I tucked my hair. She goes, ew, Whitney, that's freaking, ew. You look awful when you do that. And I was like, I'm sorry. Like the tiniest thing she like set off. I remember thinking, that's not the leader I want. Yeah. It got to the point that that's a bad leader and I don't need to follow them anymore. So I left. And it was right after, like, I was even in photo shoots and we did a bunch of stuff. But, like, I can't feel guilty when it's so toxic. You can't even freaking breathe. And I knew the longer I'd be there, the worse it'd get. So I left, and I'm glad I did. And I found way more peace traveling, you know, with my husband. And
she got married. She traveled the world.
I really did. Yeah. And that was
real. You lived.
I lived, and I was, like, still recovering. I still sometimes feel like I have to recover from that. And then recently, okay, it's been 2 years, there was Bronco tryouts online and I hadn't been practicing. It's still so fresh because this is 2 weeks ago. Yeah. But like I thought, oh, like I should do it. And then my mom, of course, like, well, who's it for? She's so good at putting me in my place.
Moms know.
And the validation, who's it for? Like other girls would ask me. I was like, oh, I just want to do it. And it definitely wasn't all for me. I would say like 20% for me. Hadn't been practicing. I turned it on, tried to do the dance in under an hour. And I was just like panic mode. Yeah. Anxiety. Minute 45, I had 1 hour. I was like freaking out. I think my body was telling me, this is not, you don't have to do this. Yeah. Who's this for? Mm-hmm. And I shut it and I just cried because it was like, I think I needed one more push as to why. Yeah. I was done.
And to feel it out, too.
Like, and to feel out if I even wanted it again. You kind of
don't know.
Until you do it.
Until you know. And that's a thought I've had a lot of, like, you put yourself out there, okay? You say you're going to start a podcast. Yeah. And then until you post that first episode. Right. And put yourself out there, you don't know if you even like it, if you even want to. But then you already told everyone else that you're going to do it. And so then you're like, oh, well, I have to do it. And it's like, no, you don't have to.
So how do you feel? I want to ask you. Do you feel like your validation started outward or do you feel like it started inward?
Oh, gosh. I've wanted to be famous since I was like 10. She's honest. No, I will joke all the time. I used to pray to God every single night that I would have a good enough singing voice to be like a famous singer. I loved Adele. I loved Beyonce. Like, I loved people with good voices. I'm not even kidding.
But Brighton has a beautiful, no, you really do. You have a beautiful singing voice.
And like, but also that was when I was a child. So I feel like there was an innate like desire to sing and want to do that. So it's like, I don't even think that's necessarily a bad thing. And I don't know where that lands in my life still. I have no idea. I've kind of made music, kind of not. No idea. So like then I did social media And some of that was totally outward, especially at the beginning, like
Right.
TikTok. Everyone's blowing up. Oh my gosh, I need to grow my TikTok. I need to grow my TikTok. And it's like, okay, one, I felt super shallow where I was like, I am just showing people my day and showing people my things and showing people what I ate for the day and what I dress like. And that's not bad. And I still post that. But it's like the reason why I changed and why I'm doing YouTube now and podcasting is like, I feel like with this type of media outlet, like I'm actually giving back more and I'm connecting more.
Yeah.
And that's what I want. Like social media isn't social anymore.
No.
It really isn't. And like I think being in person and having a conversation in nature and connecting and talking about deep things and then giving it to the world. It's almost like an offering to the world and like your own art form of like it's not just about me, you know? And like social media and fame, like at the end of the day, an actor could act a film and it could be for them, but like the reason why people love it is because they see themselves in that and the actor's giving back to them.
Totally.
If that makes any sense.
Yeah, like see you as that person.
So yes, it started out as total validation. And there's points that like, yeah, I'll freaking post on Instagram and I better look good in that Instagram picture or else I'm not going to post it. Like, you know, like stuff like that for sure. I'm trying to transition. I think that's the whole point.
I love that.
1, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah. 2, I want to leave it on a positive note. And there's so many positive notes to have. Essentially, you are in a point of change in your life.
Definitely.
You are.
Yep.
You're not doing your professional sport anymore, and that's okay. And you hold so many memories from that. And like, what would you tell someone in your same shoes?
That's funny because the mean coach actually made fun of me when I said this, but I still firmly believe it.
Yeah.
You could die tomorrow. And not that I'm driven by fear and death.
Yeah.
I'm driven by life and living. And I chose to live. That's why I left Raiders. And I'm still figuring out how I'm going to live, but even every day.
Yeah.
That's it. And why I want to do my business, that's like healthy self-talk. That's sock talk.
Yeah, I was going to say, we're going to get into
We're going to collab with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm never going to regret choosing my ultimate living every day happy for me. No matter what. Leaving, staying, any job, any whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Should be for you.
I try and do that every day.
I love that.
But doing this right now is such a good piece of that.
We're living.
Because who knows? And like you have to adjust and move on and hopefully it's good for you and happy.
Yeah. I love that. Thank you so much. Yeah. I want to say, I know you're not super on your socials, but where can people reach you? If they want to reach you, if there's dancers that want to, I don't know, talk to you or anything like that.
Oh my gosh, I love that. Well, I have one main account that's bigger. It's definitely going to be changing to more what I love. And I'd love to collab with anyone who wants to collab. Like, it's very near future. I think in 2 weeks, I'm going to start posting on that one.
Yeah.
That's Whit, WHIT.Moss.
On Instagram.
On Instagram, that's thank you to the 30,000 men that are supporting. I would really like women in my corner.
Women come. Oh my gosh, me too. My analytics on Instagram.
Yes.
Gosh, women, I need you.
Please. I'm so grateful for you men. Thank you for the support. But I want also women to support. And I don't just want to show superficial. So, but also I'm doing socks that are mental health, that have mental health sayings. I'm brave. I'm beautiful. And that's Sock Talk, SOKTOC. So that'll be up and coming.
Awesome.
If you want to collab, I'm definitely opening up doors for women and you especially, our sisters.
You're not going to see these dogs anymore. They're going to be covered.
You can sell those, right?
Yeah. Sweet. Awesome. Okay. Thank you so much. I have thought about how I want to end all of my podcast episodes, right? And I just want to sit here in silence just for 2 seconds. Let's take a deep breath. And I want to tell the audience, I've said this a few times, if you haven't seen the sun today, I want you to go outside and see the sun and say hello, because that is so important for so many reasons that I can't even get into, and nature is healing. So let's take a deep breath. And geez, this is like so beautiful.
I wish everyone listening and watching could be here.
Yeah.
Because people in Oregon, Washington.
Yeah.
If you don't have the sun, buy a sun lamp.
Absolutely. Or like, I encourage you to go out in the snow. Like, I'm actually planning on having a snow podcast
That'd
episode.
be dope.
So yeah.
Well, thank you, Brighton. You are amazing, and I'm so proud of you. You're gonna go. You're already far. I want to say you're gonna go far, but this is far.
Okay, we're gonna go into the spring behind us.
Yes.
Do you want to go play mermaids?
Mako mermaids, H2O.
So catch us on Instagram and follow the podcast, Brighten Your Day podcast, YouTube. It'll be out every Monday. So stay tuned for that.
Yay! Thank you.
Yeah. Have a good day. Bye.